I will be tracking my mood every day for the next 30 days. Why, you may wonder? Well, yesterday I went to the gym, I had a really good workout, and then throughout the course of the day, my boyfriend said to me, "Hey, you're in a really good mood today." And it made me think, okay, I know when I go to the gym that I'm much more likely to be in a good mood because of all the endorphins that are flooding my body, and also I feel much clearer in my head. But if I know that exercise can have such a huge effect on how I feel, I was wondering how many other factors influence my mood and how I feel on a day-to-day basis. I constantly say on my channel, become the researcher of your own self, question yourself, understand yourself. And today I'm putting that to a test. I will be tracking my mood, but like any good researcher, I first need to define my variables or my factors, the things that I'm going to measure, and hopefully I'll be able to see by the end of the experiment just which variables influence my mood and how much. Now, because I'm a female, I have to track my cycle, so I'll be putting the day of my cycle because that greatly influences my mood, as any woman can tell you, or any woman's partner can tell you. And then I will be tracking my mood itself. So I grouped it into different categories, and in case anything changes as I am doing this experiment, I will update my mood tracker. But for now, we shall begin the experiment.
Today is day 4 and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to the gym and so far so good. So far I felt really good, really happy, in a really good mental headspace. And I even thought to myself, oh no, is this the observer bias? Like, is this why I'm feeling so good? And observer bias in psychology research means that how things would normally go, or how events would actually normally unfold, changes just because somebody is observing them. So obviously I'm sort of the experiment and the researcher all at the same time. Feeling ill and under the weather, which means also that I'm more irritable and annoyed. So definitely when the health is not at 100%, the mood is also not at 100%.
So the first 7 days were pretty great. I felt excited, happy, and relaxed most of the time, except for the 1 or 2 days where I was sick. So of course I wasn't doing well physically, and as a result that affected my mood as well.
Feeling annoyed and frustrated and triggered, I just did a breathing exercise to kind of try and calm down my nervous system. My ego wants to get my attention by saying, no, come on, listen to me, I'm right. Getting triggered, it feels so good in a way because I just want to go into the same patterns, but it only feels good for the ego. It doesn't bring anything good anywhere else. It's very difficult to unlearn patterns. The easiest thing is to keep going into the same patterns and the same reactions, and the hardest thing in the world is to break them. But we're breaking them, so I'm gonna go meditate and calm my freaking nervous system.
Week 2, and specifically day 10, is where it gets interesting. I was feeling quite triggered and frustrated most of the day, and I'm quite self-aware. I know my patterns, I know the things that trigger me. Thank you to therapy. But at the same time, I am a human being, and I will react to certain things. I can't always be this, holy person and be like, oh, I see the thing that is about to trigger me, but I shall not react. I'm not there yet. So I did feel frustrated, I did feel irritated, but I was able to meditate, do some breath work, and journal my feelings to calm myself down and to calm my nervous system down, and it actually helped.
It looks like it's the middle of the night, but actually it's just 7 in the morning and I'm going to the gym. I've been feeling pretty good the last couple of days, but I'm a few days away from my period and I can feel how tired I'm getting, and that I just feel more down and a little bit more irritated by things.
As much as I don't like jokes being made about females being on their period because they tend to be more emotional, sad, and everything's just a little bit more heightened, I did see that it is true for myself. I really could tell that in which part of my cycle I was in, how it influenced my mood, and the closer I got to my period, the more frustrated and sad and just down I felt.
I'm feeling super irritated and restless because I haven't worked out in like 6 days due to feeling tired and also my period, so I'm really seeing how much physical activity affects my mental state. And tomorrow I'm going back to the gym. But really, if I go more than 3 days without working out, I don't feel good.
It's day 25 and I just finished working out. I had my first morning workout at the gym in like 6 days. And what I learned is that if I want to feel calm and happier, working out is much more important than meditation, because I feel like I have so much energy that's stored in my body that if I physically exhaust myself, then I feel calm and happy. Running in the rain when it's dark out. It feels so good.
So I finished the 30-day experiment, and there were 3 main takeaways that I wanted to share with you. And the most important was that the majority of how I feel is a habit. I could really see that even though my mood varied because of, my cycle, or I, for example, slept for 8 hours or I didn't, yes, it affected how I felt. But most days I kind of felt the same because I have the same routine. I'm kind of faced with the same people, the same situations, the same tasks, and as a result, I tend to feel the same way as well. Which leads me to my second takeaway. External and internal factors can greatly influence how I feel. Obviously, I think that's a pretty obvious point. However, it greatly varies person to person. I'm somebody that's highly sensitive and emotional, so I tend to get affected by external things much more, and maybe to a higher degree as well. But I know people that could have a lot going on at work, their car could break down, something else could go wrong, and they're still gonna remain calm and perfectly happy, and they're not really affected by it. So I think it's really important to kind of figure out for every individual how sensitive they are to external factors and external stressors, and how sensitive they are to internal factors and internal stressors. Now, from these 2 takeaways, I kind of had a revelation towards the end of the experiment, and it was this. If the majority of how I feel is a habit, I can create habits that make me feel good. This was such an interesting thing once I realized it, because I was thinking, okay, if most of the time how I feel is a habit, I can structure my day, or I can literally engineer my life to have these little habits spread out throughout the day that make me feel good. And as a result, I'm gonna be more likely to feel good, and I'll increase my level of happiness maybe by like 5%, which is totally fine with me. Physical exercise, I know, affects me greatly, and it's probably the most important factor that I found throughout this experiment that affects my mood in a positive way. So I can start my morning by going to the gym or going for a run or doing some kind of form of physical activity. In the afternoon, I can read a book or I can do some breath work, because I also know that makes me feel good. If I get to engineer my day in such a way that it's sprinkled with little things that I know make me feel good, habitually, day to day, I'm gonna be much more likely to feel good. And sure, there are anomalies, like something might go wrong or I'm nearing my period and it will affect me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna return to that baseline that hopefully is gonna be a little bit better than it was before. As I always say on my channel, become the researcher of your own self. And if this video sparked something in you, maybe you wanna do the same experiment that I just did, and I really invite you to do it because you're gonna learn so much about yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.